Whether new shooter, longtime gun owner, or even police officer or soldier, your handgun needs a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Crimson Trace.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All righty, we are back with you, Tom Gresham. If you'd like to be a part of the show, all you have to do is call us, 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. That will get you in here. Email is tom@guntalk.com. On Twitter, I am at GunTalk. A lot of ways to get a hold of us. Be a part of the conversation. We're open lines. If there's a gun you want to tell me about, a question you want to ask, or if you've just tuned in and you think, ooh, guns are a problem. Well, okay, give me a holler. We'll talk about that. A lot of ways for you to get on board here. But first, we need to talk. Well, we're going to talk with somebody who has, frankly, won probably more competitions, shooting competitions, in more types of competitions than any shooter I have ever seen. We're talking about Randi Rogers joins us right now. Hey, Randi, how are you?
Hey, Tom, how are you?
I am great. I'm just looking through this thing, more than 40 world and national championships. But here's the thing, IDPA, USPSA, 3-gun national, single stack, let's see, the backup gun. And then, of course, that doesn't even talk about all the championships you've won in the single action shooting. I don't know anybody who's won in that many different categories.
Well, I'm not sure there is either. I've been very lucky. I've gotten to shoot a lot of different guns and a lot of different styles of competition.
Oh, shut your mouth. I've been very lucky. Listen to this. I've been lucky. Yeah, I just lucked into 40 world and national championships. Amazing how that happens. Yeah,
okay, there might have been a little hard work involved.
It might have been a little hard work in there. But the part that I really like is when somebody underestimates you. They go, oh, yeah, what's this little girl doing? Yeah, I bet you never had that happen.
Oh, no, never.
Never. That's like the most fun ever, isn't it?
You know, there is a little bit of satisfaction when somebody says, hey, little girl, are you here to shoot? And yep, I'm here to shoot.
Yeah, can you show me how? Oh, God, that's just the kind of thing you would do, too. I can see you doing that.
Oh, no, it's all in good fun, Tom. It's all in good fun.
It is. Well, I mean, what's this? Oh, just did the single stack laser revolver. I'm looking, the backup gun. How old were you when you started shooting competitively?
I was 11 years old. I started shooting competitively as a preteen with my grandparents.
Really? How did that happen? I mean, what was the thing that made you get involved in it?
Well, it was a little bit of an accident. I used to visit my grandparents in the summertime and stay with them and hang out, and my grandparents were competitive shooters. My grandfather is Evil Roy. He's been a cowboy action shooter for almost 30 years now, and at the time, he was training for a shoot caddy coming up, and they didn't have a babysitter, so they took me to the range, and as I like to say, it was all downhill from there.
So instead of leaving you with a babysitter, they took you to the range, and what they did is they created a world champion shooter out of that. That's amazing.
They did.
I'll be darned. So what are you getting ready for now? What's the next big challenge for you in shooting?
Well, we have a lot of things coming up. Summertime is always very busy, so we've got the single stack nationals are coming. The Bianchi Cup is almost here, and before you know it, it'll be the SAS Into Trail World Championship. So I've got a pretty full calendar in April and May.
How much do you get to practice? Because you actually have a real job these days.
I do have a real job in real life, but I'm very blessed. I get 2 mornings off a week that I am able to sneak off to the range, and then every weekend I'm home. I always spend it at the range, either at a local match or training, and so I usually practice outside at least 3 or 4 days a week, and then I dry fire every single day.
Dry fire every single day. How long do you spend dry firing? What does that take you? What's your regimen doing that?
Well, it kind of depends. I usually do it with the TV on because I can usually only grip the gun and hold it up for about 3 or 4 minutes at a time. So I'll dry fire for 3 or more minutes, sit down for 3 or 4 minutes, and I usually go on and off for 15 or 20.
Okay. That's how important is dry firing for somebody who wants to get better at shooting, just period?
I find dry fire to be some of the very most important practice. Live fire is great, but I think with dry fire, it's much easier to have perfect practice. You can see a great sight picture. You can have a great trigger pull, and it's especially important for people who live in places with inclement weather. If you have snow on the ground several months a year, dry fire is a great way to keep your training regimen up.
Terrific. Now, we mentioned that you do have like a real grown-up job these days, not just a professional shooter. So, but you being you made it all work because now you're working with Comp-Tac.
I was able to turn my hobby into a real job. I am the sales and marketing manager for Comp-Tac Victory Gear, and we're a holster manufacturing company out of Texas. There
you go. And you got this new line called the Q line, and the more I look at it, the more I am impressed with, and the thing is, and I just have to share this, if anybody else told me this, Randy, I would say, yeah, sure. But when you tell me this thing actually works, and you got a holster line that fits like one holster fits several guns, I'm thinking, okay, well, Randy said so, it's got to be true. What is it? How does it work?
Well, the Q line came about because we had customers coming to us and they say, hey, I love your holsters, but every time I buy a new gun, I have to buy a new holster, and I've got a drawer full of holsters at home. And so we sat down. Yeah, we sat down and we said, well, hey, a lot of these guns are kind of similar in shape. Is there a way that we can combine them while still offering a great fit? And so the way that we do our holster design is we use CAD drawings and we use CNC machines. And so we had our CAD guy for our R&D sit down and say, hey, how many of these guns are close enough we can make a good holster? And he said, there are at least anywhere from 5 to 10 guns that are close enough we could fit them in one holster. So these Q-line holsters allow you to have one holster for several of your guns but still offer a great fit.
So we're not talking about sloppy holsters where this thing, it'll go down in it, but it's flopping around in it. It actually holds the gun.
Correct. It does hold the gun. And we're also not talking about, you have to have this widget or that widget. It's one holster. The only thing you need is a little Allen wrench to maybe adjust the screws a little bit, and we send that with it, and it's going to hold your gun really, really well.
Now, what kind of holsters are these? You have IWB, you have belt holsters. What do you have here?
Well, we came out with 3 holster designs. So the first one, we call it the QH, and H stands for hybrid. It's got a leather back and a Kydex shell front. It's for inside the waistband concealed carry. We have the QI, I is for inside, and it is an all Kydex inside the waistband concealed carry. And then we have an outside the waistband belt-style holster. It's great for concealed carry or if you want to go to the range or shoot a little bit of competition.
Oh, okay. So give me an idea how many pistols, I'm guessing you have different holsters in the line, but if you got one of these holsters, how many different pistols could you get to fit into one holster?
Well, each holster comes in 4 sizes, and in 4 sizes, we fit about 80 to 85% of the handguns on the market. So, for instance, the QI3, that's kind of your compact handgun. It's going to hold your 43, it's going to hold your Shield, it's going to hold your XDS. That one itself fits about 6 different pistols. Probably the largest one we have is the the size 2, and it's going to fit all your really wide pistols, so all your XDs, a lot of your SIGs, a lot of your H&Ks. So with any of the holsters, I think the minimum you've got is about 5 pistol sizes, or 5 different pistols.
That's amazing. That's a lot of technology in a holster.
It is, and that's one of the cool things about working here is a lot of the people that work here have worked with guns their whole lives. The owner of the company, Greg Garrett, he's been involved with firearms. He was a military kid, and so he learned to shoot real young, and he got to do a lot of personal protection and concealed carry work. The general manager here, Gordon Carroll, he's been a competitive shooter for 15 years, and then I get to go around and shoot and practice and teach and do a lot of stuff. So we really are firearms people here.
That is fabulous. It's Comp-Tac is the name of the company. It's COMP-TAC, and that's the website, Comp-Tac.com. I got to ask you one other question here. I just had a guy send me a note, and I'm always about pushing people to get training. The guy says, well, I finally went to the SIG Academy, and says, boy, you're right. I've been shooting guns for 20 years, but I didn't know anything about this. So you go, yeah. But then his little tagline was, he said, oh, while I was there, I bought a gun belt. You know what? You were right about that, too. You really do need a gun belt. Explain to people why, if you're doing concealed carry, you need a real gun belt.
You need a real belt because when you put a gun on it, it's a lot of extra weight. Normally a belt is just made to hold up your pants, which, those are only 3 or 4 ounces. But when you're carrying a firearm, you're talking anywhere from, at the low side, 10 ounces, but usually it's over a pound of weight by the time you put bullets in it and maybe carry a spare mag. And to be able to hold up that weight, you've got to have a little extra reinforcement and support.
Exactly. I mean, that's really what it amounts to. So if you have a gun belt, the other thing that happens is it just becomes a lot more comfortable to carry the gun.
Oh, absolutely, especially if your belt, like ours, has a little bit of a contour cut and has a little bit of support. It'll keep it from biting and digging and pinching. It just makes life a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the Q line, is it available now?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, go to Comp-Tac, COMP-TAC.com for the info. Anything else people need to know about it?
Hey, just get out there, grab one, and get to the range.
There you go. Randi, thank you so much. Listen, just best and wishes on the upcoming season.
Well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.
All right, you take care. Randi Rogers from Comp-Tac. What a shooter. Oh, my heavenly days. All right, be right back with more Gun Talk.
FN handguns bear the DNA of legends, of John Browning, the father of modern firearms, of the artisans and craftsmen who brought his genius to life, of the brave souls who defended our freedom on the front lines for the last 100 years, and the brave souls who defend it on the home front today. FN handguns, the DNA of legends in the palm of your hand. Ask for FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
What's important in a gun safe? Security, reliability, safety, good looks? It all comes down to quality. Quality that's built in from the beginning. Liberty Safe has made quality products for 29 years right here in the USA. Trust your guns, your valuables, and your safety to Liberty Safe. Did you ever regret buying quality? I didn't think so. Get the best. Whatever your budget, get a Liberty Safe. LibertySafe.com.
You're at a gun store and your phone tells you about hot deals. Want to know about special offers? No problem when you have Gun Dealio, the free app for your smartphone. Gun Dealio delivers the latest deals on guns, ammo, and extras direct to your phone. Don't overpay for your shooting gear. Get Gun Dealio. It's free at the App Store and Google Play. Trigger the deals with Gun Dealio. GunDealio.com.
The Black Hills. There's nothing like it on Earth. The kind of place where characters become legends. Wild Bill Hickok, Crazy Horse, Calamity Jane. Pick any part of the world and you'll find people go there to make it their own. But this is where people come to get made. This is the place that made the people who make the best ammo on earth. Black Hills Ammunition.
I'm just as good as these guys. When will I get my chance to prove it?
Your chance is now. American Marksman is a nationwide series of target shooting competitions designed to give you your big break. Think you've got what it takes to go home with $50,000? Visit ammarksman.com to register today. That's ammarksman.com. American Marksman. Are you the one?
All right, back with you. 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. Michael has called in from Alabama on 3. Hello, Michael. What happened at the range?
Well, Tom, my wife and I went last Sunday, and when we got the ARs put up, we went over to the pistol range, and there was another couple over there shooting, and the woman was just having a bad time of it. She was had rented a 38 Smith & Wesson, and it was just beating her up. She was miserable. And she asked if she could shoot my wife's LCR. And I swear to you, within 8 shots, she got younger with each shot. And she fell in love with it and said that's what she wanted to go buy.
Now, that's interesting. Now, let me ask you, is your wife's LCR, the Ruger LCR, is that in 38?
No, sir, it's in 22 long rifle.
Ah, okay.
I know
so
that's not going to make you happy, but...
No, actually, I think it's fine.
My wife will go out and shoot it every weekend.
You know what? That's the criteria. Will you shoot it? Will you get good with it? And a 22 that you can carry and that you'll get good with is a whole lot more valuable than a 38 that's back in the safe.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Now, my wife, inside of 15 yards, my wife will go shooting with it every weekend. And that's the thing. That's the only thing that she'll go shoot every weekend. You know, because she wants to get better with it. But if I give her a 38 or if I give her my 40 or something like that, she will not shoot it. Now, she
there you go.
But she don't enjoy
she's figured out what works for her, though. That's the main thing. Is it's just, okay, this works for me. This is what I will carry. This is what I will shoot. I'm good with that. What was when you wrapped up with the lady that you let use the gun, what was her takeaway on the whole thing?
Well, like I said, within 8 shots, she got younger with every shot. Her eyes were smiling. Her face had lit up. She was happy with shooting. She was hitting the target.
Isn't that something?
When she finished shooting that LCR, she didn't want to shoot anymore. She gave back the one she had rented, and she said she was going to go buy her an LCR.
Wow. Well, there you go. It is a nice revolver, but of course, just switching from 38 to 22 made a huge bit of difference. Can I ask you a question? How did you originally approach her when you saw there was a problem? What'd you do?
Well, to be honest with you, she approached us. I asked, my wife let me shoot it, and I set up a target at 25 yards. And when she saw me shooting it, she noticed that there was just no recoil. And she actually asked what it was and asked if she could shoot it. And my wife told her, yeah. And, of course, they got to talking. My wife's an over-the-road trucker. That's what she carries. And she's actually a truck and dispatcher, and that's why she wanted one, because she's, at a lot of places late, going in and out of her business. So,
right. Well, I'll be darned. That is a great story.
For you is, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The question I had for you was, I mentioned to her about the 327, or, something with a little more power that's supposed to not kick as bad as like the 38 or something. But I really don't have any advice to give her there because I've never shot one.
Well, here's the thing with the 327 Federal. You do get a 6-shot revolver, and you can get very low-powered ammunition for practice. I mean, it's hardly more recoil than a 22. Honestly, it really isn't. But then if you wanted to, you could put the full-blown 327 Federal Magnum loads in it, and that is right in there, not just with a 38, but with a 357 Magnum. Now, it's not a lot of fun to shoot those, but if you just want to carry it, you could. But here's the thing. I think it's not a bad idea for somebody to have a 22, and if she shoots that, she likes it, and if at some point she says, well, I think maybe I'll get something bigger, she can move on from that. But the main thing is to get her into something that she'll shoot and enjoy. And, like I say, a gun that you have is a whole lot better than a bigger gun that you don't have.
Oh, I agree, and it was enjoyable for me to watch her when she started enjoying shooting. It was just something to see.
Isn't that fun when the light comes on? I mean, you really can, and you described it perfectly. She got younger with every shot. Her eyes start lighting up. It's kind of like, oh, this doesn't have to hurt. This is great. So I appreciate it. That was a great report. That's a range report for you. Okay, did you happen to see CBS Sunday Morning this morning? It's one of my favorite TV shows. I think they do a good job telling stories. Well, they devoted the entire 90-minute show today to guns. And the reason I knew about it, the reason I wasn't as concerned as it came up as I would have normally been, was because I knew that they had interviewed Sandy Froman, a friend of mine. Sandy, of course, is the past president of the NRA. She's a gun rights activist. She is a serious shooter. She got into guns because her house was broken into. She got scared pretty badly. She had no way to defend herself. And Sandy's a great spokesperson, too. So, actually, and people say, oh, it's going to be another hit job. Well, yeah, but it's one of those. They had actually a number of episodes, little segments in the show that were very positive. They had a piece on women carrying and holsters for women and purses. They went out to Cody, Wyoming and visited with some people out there. They talked with Sandy Froman. They had some of that. And then, of course, they had people who had been victims of guns, gun crime. They never mentioned, of course, that gun crime was down. They never mentioned that accidental shootings of children are way, way down at the lowest point they've ever been. And, of course, they stretched it out so that the anti-gun stuff was the last thing on. That way, that's the last thing in your mind. But I do have to say this. Overall, they included a lot of good, legitimate reporting, which is more than I usually see on TV and much more than I expected out of CBS. If you happen to see that this morning, I would like to get your take on it, see if it meshes with mine, or if you think, no, Tom, you just missed it. You screwed it up. Well, it would be the first time. 866-TALK-GUN. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
Want your opinion to make a difference? Log on to our website and take the Gun Talk poll, www.guntalk.com. Now, once again, opinion page regular contributor for the Washington Times, here's Tom.
Hey, have you already gotten your Gun Dealio app? If not, you need to download it, put it on your smartphone, either Android or iOS. Either way, it's free. It's available right now. You get all kind of good deals, and here's the cool part of it. If you download the app, you're going to have access to an exclusive link for 15% off discount at shopguntalk.com. That's all of our concealed carry DVDs, the first-person offender DVDs, hats, all kind of stuff we have there. We got to go into the exclusive deals part on your Gun Dealio app. So be sure to download that. It's free. I mean, why would you not? It's called Gun Dealio. Did you see there were several media reports on this study from England, supposedly by a prestigious medical journal, talks about how gun laws can really prevent gun crime and accidents and suicides. Published in The Lancet, a medical journal. They had some crazy stuff in it. It said that certain gun control laws can have incredible reductions in firearms mortality. CNN, of course, proclaimed this. The only problem is it's just full of excrement. In fact, I mean, it's so bad that the gun ban lobbyists here in the U.S., in the medical field, and there are a bunch of so-called doctors in the medical field who do research to try to ban guns, they're disavowing this study. They're saying that this study is not valid, the one from England. It's really bad when you cobble together an anti-gun study supposedly to prove that more gun laws will reduce crime, reduce injury, reduce accidents. And others who want the same kind of gun law say, whoa, too far. We know that our stuff's bogus, but that's really bogus. You guys are out there. You're actually going to make us look bad if people look very hard at your thing, so we're going to have to disavow it right now. It's kind of actually funny looking at it from the outside, watching them scramble around and going, oh, man, dude, don't say that. Yeah, okay, got it. Line 2, Gary's with us out of Boonville, Arkansas. Hey, Gary, what inexpensive guns do you have?
Well, the first one was an old Winchester single-shot 12-gauge. It's actually New England's Firearms Company, but swapped it from a friend. And I took off the wooden stock and put on one of those ATI stocks.
Oh, yeah.
4 ends with a pistol grip, you know. And I cut the barrel down to 20 inches and put on one of these perforated steel upper handguards. It's got a built-in front and rear sight. And I just love this gun. I wear a cartridge belt that has room for 25 12-gauge, and I've got some slugs and buckshot and birdshot. And then for chasing dogs off the property, I got some rubber buckshot and rubber slugs. I even have a couple flares on the belt. I just call it my meat gun.
You've got a tactical single-shot shotgun, single-barrel shotgun. I love it. It's lightweight. I love that. That's fabulous.
Yeah. And I wanted to get a concealed carry weapon when I got my permit, and I happened to be in a store, and they had this Millennium PT-140, like a previous caller mentioned, and in 40 Smith & Wesson, and I did have to send it back. The magazine release spring was too weak, and the magazine kept dropping out. But they sent it back and charged me nothing, and now it works just great. And I really like it. And
good deal.
I got it in 40 caliber because I have a Kel-Tec 2000, sub 2000 in 40. And I love that. I've really fixed that one up. It's got everything you can do to it been done. It's got that rotary forend and everything. You can stick on stuff and still fold it up. And then I wanted something a little bit lighter.
Okay.
So I got a Bersa Thunder 380, and I just love it. It feels just like a Walther PP I used to have, and it's never given me the slightest trouble. And I tuck it on my hip, and I just can't even feel it. It's there. I just love it. And with those hollow point 380s, it's fairly effective.
There you go. Hey, Gary, I appreciate the info. Now, there's a lineup of, I was talking about what cheap guns do you have that you like, but Gary's got him a bunch of cheap/inexpensive guns. He really does like them. Let's talk to Roy on line 1 out of Ohio. Hey, Roy.
Hey, Tom. Listen, I just wanted to, I was listening to one of the callers. He said he picked up the gun and he just knew it was made for him. So we want to call that gun love at first sight. That is what it is. It is gun love. When you do it, and you know it. If you don't buy it, you're an idiot. But besides
have you ever had that happen?
Yes, sir, I sure have. I bought a little 22 Walther at an auction, really for my wife, but when I picked it up, I didn't pick it up first, but it was just there, you know. And that's not a carry gun, that's a fun gun, but it happened, yeah. The other one that actually happened for me, and why I'm really calling, is my FN 5728. And I'm telling you, it's a big format, and I just ordered an Alien Gear holster for it, but it is so light, and the sights are so adjustable. I just love this thing, and I just can't say enough. And plus, the capacity, you know, you know, that's off the rails, you know.
Yeah, you got high capacity, and you're shooting, a high velocity cartridge. That thing barks when it goes off, doesn't it?
It sure does. Yeah, it sure does. But I just love it. To me, for my hand, I've got big hands and short fingers, and it just I close in on that thing. one-handed or two-handed, I'm telling you, it just says, this is the one for you. And so I named her Bertha, Little Bertha, and I love it.
That's wonderful. Look, I appreciate the call. Hey, if you've got a gun that you just fell in love with, like this, gun love at first sight, first time you pick it up, give me a holler. Let me know about that. Share the love. 866-TALK GUN. All right, Jim and Kevin, don't go anywhere. I got answers for you. If you'd like to join us, that's pretty easy. Just call me. Dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. We'll be right back.
Your guns are hungry, really hungry. They crave lead. They feast on recoil. They were born with a gluttonous appetite for speed and accuracy. Centerfire, rimfire, shotguns. They all need to eat. Let the feeding frenzy begin. Aguila Ammunition. Feed your firearm.
Experts agree that the low-range, variable rifle scope is best for most situations. Now, Trijicon offers a stunning 1-to-6 power variable in the AccuPoint line. Featuring a battery-free illuminated reticle, superior glass clarity, and rugged construction, it's the one scope you need for hunting and competition. Long eye relief, aircraft-grade aluminum housing, manual brightness override. See the 1-to-6 power AccuPoint at Trijicon.com. Trijicon.com.
What makes a legacy? Is it quality? Craftsmanship? Maybe it's the idea that every American deserves their right to security and peace of mind on and off the battlefield. What makes a legacy? Here at Colt, we're making it every day. Colt, built one at a time, proven every round.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
Bigfoot gun belts, made with legendary leather and quality craftsmanship, are built to support the full weight of even the heaviest handgun. With a spring steel core embedded between two layers of rich English bridle leather, you'll never deal with a sagging belt ever again. Each gun belt is handmade with the blood, sweat, and beards of dedicated, skilled Pacific Northwest belt makers. Capture your gun belt for as low as $54.88 at BigfootGunBelts.com.
Back with you. I had so much fun over in Germany. We were at the EWA show last week, of course. If you listen to the show, you know. After the EWA show itself, the trade show was over, we drove down to Izny, about a 3-hour drive. Izny is about 15,000 people. Small town right in the foothills of the Alps. Gorgeous, gorgeous. But it's where the Blaser rifle factory is. It's where they make Blasers, Sauer rifles, Mausers, all under one roof. Very cool. But and it's very state-of-the-art. What I didn't know, I know that Blaser has this very cool straight pull rifle called the R8. But in Europe, Blaser is the biggest rifle maker. I did not know that. But they have an indoor shooting range. They call it the shooting cinema, where they project moving targets, basically movies, on a huge piece of paper where they sand berm behind it, a wall, and you're shooting live ammo indoors. So we were shooting the 308 cartridge in the Blaser R8 at Running Pigs, wild boar. It was so much fun. I don't know why I hadn't, but I had not shot the R8 before. And it's really easy to switch it from right and left-handed, so we could do that. Man, what a sweet deal. That's straight pull, sweet as it can be. We'll have more about that in the next few weeks, but man, that was very, very slick. I like that. Okay, let's see here. Let's go get Kevin on line 3 out of Belton, Texas. Hey, Kevin, you got a Krieghoff?
Well, I have a friend that has one, but before I ask you that question, I was going to ask you how fast you drove on your way down to the Blaser factory in Germany on the Autobahn.
We were on the A6 and the A7 Autobahn. We were poking along at about 95 to 100 miles an hour and getting past like we were backing up.
Yeah, that's almost unsafe going those speeds. I've driven on both those Autobahns, by the way. I've got a friend who bought a Krieghoff shotgun, and the barrels down close to the receiver, and I haven't seen this firearm yet, but he called me yesterday with this question, and it stumped me. The barrels are marked C4 and C5, the letter C and the number 4 and 5, down close to the receiver, and we kind of thought they were the choke designations, but weren't sure, and we're hoping that you might know the answer to this question.
Okay. Well, as it works out, I drove right by Ulm on the way down to Isny, Germany. Nice. Ulm is where that's where they make Krieghoffs. Right. I'm assuming that this Krieghoff shotgun does not have screw-in chokes. It's fixed chokes.
It does not. It does not.
Okay.
That was the first question.
Right. So what you've got is the designations on Krieghoffs is numbers 00, then 0, then 1, all the way to 5. 4 and 5 means 4 is full and 5 is super full. So I'm guessing that's either a trap gun or a live pigeon gun.
Okay. Full and super full.
Right. 35 constriction and a 40 constriction, which means that's great if you're a really good trap shooter or if you're shooting live birds. I'm guessing it's a live bird gun because that's what they want for that. Right. But what it also means is
that was what he bought
for anything
else.
So oh, okay. So he bought it for live birds.
He did. Yep.
Okay, that's perfect. That's what it is. That's what this gun is made for. I don't know anybody else for any other use would do that. I have an old, back when Ithaca brought in the Parazzis, I got a Parazzi Mirage. It says Ithaca on it, and it was a live bird gun and choked really tightly like that. And they have great chokes, but I'm not that good a shooter. I need wider patterns, and so I had choke tubes put in it, and it works better for me. And it made all of the live bird guys just scream like, "Don't do that! Those are great chokes." I said, well, yeah, they're great chokes, but I'm not that good a shooter. I need a bigger pattern. For me, I will be a better shooter with wider patterns. So that's just me.
And he's considering doing screw-in chokes as a modification to this shotgun, but I told him, of course, that would probably hurt the value of the shotgun, and he said, well, I bought it to shoot and don't really care what it does to the value, so I guess he can make that decision on his own, but at least I can tell him now, you truly are an encyclopedia of information. I had no idea what they were.
Well, I'm glad we could help. That's a very nice shotgun, too, by the way. There you go. Let's see here. Where did we go, Jim? I am lost. Okay, let's go to John in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hey, John, what you talking about here? What kind of gun?
Hey, Tom. I just wanted to put in a plug for my favorite pistol of all time, which is a Walther PP made in West Germany in 32 ACP. And I saw one in... I'm sorry?
No, I was just going to ask you why that particular pistol?
Well, obviously there's the whole James Bond ethos and all that, and so it's a very sexy gun. And I saw one in a shop, and I just had to have it. I didn't pay a lot of money for it, and I took it home and shot it. And I shoot a lot of guns, and the initial trigger pull is kind of heavy. It's about a 12-pound trigger pull, but after that, it's like butter. And it's a fixed barrel. It's very accurate. It just feels amazing in your hand. The ergonomics are superb. It's all steel, so it's not as light as some of the some of the new guns. Almost no recoil, but very little recoil. Very fast follow-up shots, and I've shot it at 100 yards and hit 2 out of 4 shots on the paper.
Wow, with Walther, I think Walther has always had the ergonomics figured out. It seems like every time I pick up a Walther pistol, it just feels really good in my hands, and that goes all the way back to the James Bond, the PP, and the PPK. They make good guns, just simple as that. I appreciate that, John. Great comment. All right, Dewey, we're going to get to you. If you'd like to get involved in this, just give us a holler, 866-TALK-GUN, 866-TALK-GUN. What gun, if you had to pick one up and just take it to the range and shoot it for fun, which one would it be? All right, in a few minutes, we're going to have a guest in here from a gun store. They're just doing some fascinating things, a place where you can get, for one thing, you can get gun manuals, 1,800 gun manuals on their website, but also just what they're doing, a veteran-owned business. There's going to be a lot of interesting info there for you. But let's first go to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, where Dewey is on the line with us. Hey, Dewey, did you see that show this morning?
I got to watch it. Believe it or not, my liberal wife taped it for me while I was sleeping, and so I did get to see it. It surprised me. It on the surface appeared more balanced than most of what I expect from the normal media. They covered a wide range of things. But a lot of it you could tell was emotion-based rather than critical thinking-based.
Well, sure. Let me explain. Let me explain to everybody what we're talking about. We're talking about the. Hey, Dewey, hold on a second here. Let me explain to people what we're talking about. This was the CBS Sunday morning program this morning that ran, and usually they do a 90-minute show with a whole lot of different subjects. Today they did all 90 minutes on guns. And I'm like you do. I kind of said, well, you know what? They actually had several really good pieces in there. And then, of course, they had the emotional anti-gun, people get shot with guns. But you knew that was coming, right? I mean, you were waiting for that.
Yeah. The piece on Australia, they explained that they had, I don't know, 6 or 8 or 9 mass shootings that led up to the ban. I think it was in 86. And they had a buyback program, and the way they put it, cut. What they said was they had no more mass shootings, but what they didn't say at all or cover was how'd your crime rate go, which, as I understand, has not gone down.
Right, look, the interviewer, he didn't know anything. He walks in there just dumb as a bag of rocks. And so he's just going to take whatever he's handed by this anti-gun politician who put in the gun ban in Australia. And frankly, it gels with what the interviewer thought would be the case when he walks in. But you knew that was coming. But at least they did interview somebody in Australia who had the opposite view and said, no, that's not what happened. And that's not, it hasn't been good. And we gave up a lot of rights and we didn't need to. So they had that. I mean, I knew that they were going to end up with somebody who had been shot or the mother of somebody who had been shot. The one thing I kept waiting for, because I was thinking, well, if they really were going to be fair, if they really were going to be complete, they would bring up this stat. There's 2 of them, actually. One, because they talked about accidental childhood shooting deaths. They would bring up the fact that they are at the lowest number that they've ever been in 75 years. For as long as we've been recording, and I'm not talking about the rate here, I'm talking about the actual number of children who die accidentally with gunshot wounds. The number is lower. Millions more people, millions more guns, but the number that die because of accidental gunshots is way down. The other thing they didn't mention in the U.S. is that the rate of crime with guns is down. And the number of murders with guns is down. Gun crime is down by roughly 50% over the last 20 years. So at some point, somebody in the media is going to have to say, why is it you keep pushing for these things when the trend is going down? Why are you pushing for these other things? And why is it, like in one case, they said, what we really need is universal background checks. But of course, the man who killed my daughter had already gone through a background check, so it wouldn't have done any good. You're going, what? Really? Man. I mean, what we need is actually some curiosity on the part of an interview at some point. Hey, when we come back, we're going to be talking about an interesting gun store in a place where you can get free manuals for almost any gun.